There's a moment that nobody prepares you for. The moment that your own life stops fitting, not because it fell apart, because you grew. The job you prayed for, the circle you built, the routine that once felt like safety. One day you look around and you realize you're standing inside a life that was designed by a version of you that no longer exists. And here's the dangerous part: most people will call that feeling ingratitude. They'll tell you to be thankful and to settle down and stop wanting more, so you learn to shrink, to perform comfort, and to silence the one voice that's been telling you the truth. But your discomfort was never the problem, it was the data. I'm Jaresha Moore, and this is Empowered on Purpose. And today we're talking about the moment you finally admit, I don't fit here anymore. All right, so let's get into it. There's a lot of people walking around frustrated with their lives right now, and they think something is wrong with them. So they think that they're ungrateful, that they're being difficult, and that they need to just calm down and be happy with what they have. But what if that's not what's happening? What if you're uncomfortable because maybe you've grown? What if the frustration that you're feeling is actually information? What if the reason you can't settle back into the old version of your life is because you're not the old version of you anymore? See, let me tell you, this is the part of personal growth that we don't talk about. We talk about becoming, about leveling up, about healing and purpose and stepping into the next version or the highest version of ourselves. But nobody talks about how uncomfortable it feels when the new you is trying to live inside of an old life. And I know that feeling. I know what it looks like to look around and think, why is this bothering me so much now? These people haven't changed. The environment hasn't changed. So why does it feel different? Because I changed. And maybe you're listening, you're like, you know what, you did too. Let me tell you something. Growth will change your tolerance. And I'm going to say that again, as I like to say, rewind it back. Growth will change your tolerance. Things that you used to laugh off, you don't find funny anymore. Things you used to ignore, you notice immediately. Situations you used to spend months trying to fix, now you're asking yourselves why you're even entertaining them. And sometimes you'll surprise yourself because the old you would have stayed. The old you would have explained. And the old you would have said, you know what, it's okay. And really figured out how to carry everybody and everything. But the version of you that's emerging, she's tired or he's tired. And not tired in the way that means that you need a nap. Although, let me tell you, sometimes we need that too. But what I'm talking about is soul tired. See, she's tired of shrinking. She's tired of pretending not to see what she clearly sees. She's tired of abandoning herself just to keep everybody else comfortable. And here's where it gets uncomfortable because when you start changing, everybody, and I mean everybody around you, may not understand. Some people are going to think you're acting funny. Some people will say you've changed. And guess what? They may be right. You have changed. But here's my question. Why are we so offended when somebody tells us we've changed? Aren't we supposed to? Aren't we supposed to change? I mean, seriously, think about it. We read the books, we listen to podcasts and, podcast after podcast. We pray, we journal, we survive things, we learn lessons, and we say we want to grow. And then somebody says, you know what? You've changed. And we immediately want to defend ourselves. Well, let me tell you, yes, I hope I've changed. I hope I changed. I didn't go through all of that to remain exactly the same. Now, let me be clear, because I'm not talking about becoming arrogant. I'm not talking about walking around like everybody else is beneath you. That's not growth. That's ego. I'm talking about awareness. And I'm talking about reaching a point where you can finally say, this right here doesn't align with me anymore. This doesn't align with me anymore. And that is such a powerful sentence. Not, they're a terrible person, not this place is horrible, or everybody else is wrong. Sometimes it's simply this no longer aligns with who I am becoming. And we have to learn how to let that be enough, because one of the biggest mistakes we make is believing something has to become horrible before we're allowed to leave it. We wait for the big explosion. We wait for betrayal. We wait until we're completely burnt out, or until the job drains every ounce of life out of us. Then we say, okay. Now I have permission to make a change. But who told us pain had to be the permission slip? Maybe awareness is enough. Maybe knowing is enough. That quiet voice inside of you saying, this isn't it anymore. This isn't it anymore. That is worth listening to. Now, I want you to hear me and hear me good, because some of us know we don't fit anymore, but we keep trying to make ourselves fit. We make ourselves smaller, and we stop talking about certain dreams and aspirations around certain people. And many of us adjust our energy depending on the room that we're in, pretending we're okay with things we know we aren't okay with. And the entire time, something inside of us is screaming, this isn't me anymore. Yet we're afraid. Because if I admit I don't fit here anymore, what happens next? What happens next? What happens if I say I don't fit here anymore? And I believe for many of us, that's the scary part. Sometimes you know what you're leaving, but you don't know exactly where you're going. And we love certainty, don't we? Don't we? We want God to give us the entire plan. Lord, if you could just send me the itinerary, right? I need the dates. I need the times, the confirmation numbers. I need to know who's going to be there, how much money I'm going to make, where I'm going to live, and how all of this is going to work out. Then I'll move. But purpose doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you get the next step. That's it. Sometimes all you know is I can't keep operating like this. I can't keep abandoning myself. I can't keep saying yes when everything in me is saying no or absolutely not. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough information for your next move. So I want you to think about your own life. Where are you currently uncomfortable? And just think, be completely honest with yourself. Is it your career, your relationships, routines, the people you surround yourself with? And maybe it's not even something external. Maybe you've outgrown your own habits. Because we love to talk about outgrowing people, but sometimes you need to outgrow you. So when I say that, I mean your need to outgrow you, your procrastination, your excuses, your need for everybody to approve of you, your habit of starting and stopping things, and your tendency to make yourself available to everybody except for yourself. And maybe you're uncomfortable because the life you're asking for requires a version of you that you haven't fully activated yet. And I will need you to remember this. Power isn't potential. It's activated. You can have all the potential in the world. You can know you're called. You can know you're talented and know you're capable. But if you keep making decisions as the old version of you, you will keep creating an old version of your life. And at some point, becoming has to become behavioral. So let me say that again for the people in the back. Becoming has to become behavioral. You can't just journal about her, or you can't just put her on a vision board. You have to make decisions like her. How does she handle this conversation? What does she tolerate? What does she say no to? What does she stop explaining? What does she finally start? That's activation. Activation is when your decisions begin matching the person you keep saying you want to become. And that's where things get uncomfortable. Because the new you will make decisions the old you wouldn't make. The old you might have said yes. The new you says, let me think about that. The old you may have worked herself into the ground trying to prove her value. The new you understands my value doesn't increase because I'm exhausted. Being the person who can handle everything is not always the flex we think it is. Sometimes being able to handle everything is exactly why people keep handing you everything. And eventually, you have to decide what belongs to you. What am I responsible for? And what have I picked up just because I knew I could carry it? Understand, those are two different questions. Just because you can carry something doesn't mean it belongs to you. And when you begin putting things down, you might feel guilty because that's normal, especially if you've built your identity around being dependable, around being strong, being the fixer, and being the one that everybody calls. But listen to me, and listen to me good. You are allowed to be a leader and have boundaries. You are allowed to love people and choose yourself. You are allowed to be ambitious and protect your peace. You are allowed to change your mind when you receive new information. You are allowed to realize this version of my life no longer fits me. I think sometimes we're waiting for somebody to give us permission. So if that's you, here it is. You have permission to grow. You have permission to change. You have permission to want something different. You have permission to admit that what you once prayed for may have served its purpose. Now, don't misunderstand me. And when I say hear me and hear me good, because I'm not telling you to walk into your job tomorrow and quit. Don't email me saying, Jaresha told me to leave, because no, absolutely not. I did not. I'm telling you to pay attention, because discomfort is data. Frustration is data. Your energy is data. The conversations you keep having with yourself is data. So what keeps coming up? What thoughts do you keep trying to push down? What dreams keep returning? What part of your life requires you to constantly convince yourself that you're okay? And I need you to sit with that. I need you to marinate with that for a minute. Because here's the thing. You don't have to make every change publicly. Everything doesn't need an announcement. Sometimes growth is quiet. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is make a decision privately and then begin aligning your life with it. You don't have to post it. You don't have to explain it. You don't need 12 opinions. You don't have to get all these votes. You can simply decide, I choose differently now. That's it. That's it. That's all, and that's it. I choose differently now. And understand there is power in that, because your life is a collection of choices. Not just the big ones, the little ones as well. So what you do in the morning, who gets access to you, how quickly you abandon your own priorities when somebody else needs something, how you speak to yourself, whether you keep promises to yourself. Those choices are building somebody. And the question is, who? Are your current choices building the version of you you're asking to become? Or are they maintaining the version of you you're trying to outgrow? That's a question that I really want you to think about today and every day moving forward. And think about it. Think about it on paper, and don't rush to answer the question. Because if you're anything like me, sometimes the first answer is really the polished answer, right? You know, the answer that we think that we're supposed to give. And then I'm like, no, I need to go deeper. So I need you to go deeper. Where are you maintaining something that you've already outgrown? Maybe it's an identity. Maybe you've been the strong one for so long that you don't know how to receive support. Or you've carried, the boss so long that you forgot how to simply be you. Maybe you've been somebody's mother, wife, leader, employee, daughter, friend, sister. And somewhere inside of all of those titles, you lost connection with you. Who are you when nobody needs anything? What do you enjoy? What do you want? What makes you feel alive? Those questions can be very uncomfortable for us, and that's okay. You don't have to solve your entire life today, but you do have to stop ignoring yourself, because I think that's where so many of us get stuck. We hear ourselves, we know, but we keep postponing the conversation. We say, oh, I'll deal with it later, or after this project, after the kids get older, after things calm down. But when exactly is life going to completely calm down? There's always going to be something. And I'm right. And if choosing yourself is always last on the list, eventually you have to ask, who keeps putting you there? So I'm going to ask you that question again. And if choosing yourself is always last on the list, eventually you have to ask who keeps putting you there. Who keeps putting you there? Yeah. And sometimes it's us, right? Yes. Understand, this is Empower on Purpose. And we're not here just to feel good. We're here to activate. And activation requires awareness. So today, this week, I want you to identify one place in your life where you no longer fit. This isn't about making a reckless decision. It's about telling yourself the truth. Thinking on paper, write it down. I no longer fit, and finish the sentence. So maybe you write something like, I no longer fit in environments where I have to shrink, or I no longer fit in relationships where I'm the only one doing the work, or something like, I no longer fit in the belief that rest has to be earned. Or I no longer fit in the version of myself that keeps waiting for permission. Whatever it is, I need you to tell the truth, because truth creates awareness. Awareness creates choice, and choice creates change. So listen, if you've been feeling restless lately, stop automatically assuming something is wrong. Maybe you're being invited to grow. Or maybe your discomfort isn't punishment. Maybe it's direction. Maybe you're not lost. Maybe you've simply reached the edge of an old version of yourself. And now you have a choice. You can keep trying to squeeze yourself back into it, or you can become curious about what's next. I tell you, I know which one I'm choosing. And if you're listening to Empower on Purpose, something tells me you already know what you're choosing to. So before you go, do something for me. Share this episode with one person who keeps saying, I don't know what's going on with me. I just feel different. Send it to them. Then visit empoweronpurpose.com and stay connected with me, because this season we're having the conversations that activate something. And it's not going to activate something. It's not a someday, not when everything is perfect. It is now. And I need you to remember that power isn't potential. It's activated. One day, you're going to look back at this exact season of your life. The restlessness, the discomfort, the quiet knowing, and you're going to realize it wasn't a breakdown. It was a door. And the only question that will matter then is the only question that matters now. Did you walk through it?